Hello and welcome to ITIL 4 Specialist Drive Stakeholder Value Certification Training Program from Trainings Direct. Firstly, about Trainings Direct. We are a global training company having our offices in the USA, UK, India, Malaysia, the Netherlands, UAE, Oman, and South Africa. We provide IT, business management, project management, ISO standards related trainings, and many other trainings for individuals and organizations. We deliver our courses in 5 ways: public classroom based, online from home or work, e-learning, a blended approach or self-paced e-learning with in-person support for instruction, or at the user's location with on-site training for private and government organizations. We are an authorized training center and endorsed by leading global professional bodies. We are a PeopleCert accredited training organization, which means we are licensed and authorized by PeopleCert and Axelos to deliver all ITIL trainings apart from others like Prince2, Agile Shift as well. And of course, we also deliver other trainings as mentioned before, like DevOps and others. And we are also having ipcert.org for other certifications for your benefit. About myself, my name is Muralidhar Gadam, or Murli in short. I'm a certified trainer and course advisor for ITIL 4, PMP, Prince2 practitioner, Managing Successful Programs practitioner, Verism professional, and DevOps. I have worked for several years in IT and project management, and with several teams in other countries like USA, Western Europe, Canada, India, Southeast Asia, and Australia. I attempt to use my real-world experience to deliver my trainings. My experience in diverse industries in leading global organizations helps me to deliver trainings with examples. I'm a computer engineer by education, and I'm a certified trainer and coach. I'm experienced in areas like IT service management, IT infrastructure services, software management, systems programming, IT systems management, project and program management, and several technical areas like database, operating systems, etc. Trainings Direct would like to acknowledge Axelos Limited for the materials used in this training course, which is taken from their official publication from Drive Stakeholder Value. This is the overall certification scheme in ITIL 4, which starts with the foundation level and moves up towards managing professional. Those who hold V3 expert certifications may directly write the managing professional transition exam and obtain ITIL 4 managing professional certification. Otherwise, you could progress from ITIL 4 foundation and move up towards ITIL specialist, create deliver support, drive stakeholder value, high velocity IT, or ITIL strategist, direct plan and improve. And with these 4 together, you may obtain ITIL 4 managing professional certification. On the other hand, there is also the ITIL strategic leader path, which is made up of 2 certifications: the ITIL strategist, direct plan and improve, plus ITIL leader, digital and IT strategy. So as you can see clearly above the foundation level, there are 2 paths: one, the managing professional path, and the other, strategic leader path. The MP made up of 4 certifications, the SL made up of 2 certifications, and the DPI, direct plan and improve, is common to both paths. And at the top, we have the master certification. For every publication, there is one exam associated. Therefore, there are foundation publication, create, deliver, and support, drive stakeholder value, high velocity IT, direct plan and improve, digital IT strategy. These are the various ITIL 4 publications. And there are also practices published separately. These are the 34 practices, for example, release management, information security management, portfolio management, and so on. The managing professional certification is made up of the 4 certifications as I mentioned earlier. Therefore, it relies on the 4 publications rather than a separate publication for managing professional. Let's look at the publications and their connections with the syllabus. Each managing professional syllabus, meaning the DPI, DSV, CDS, HVIT, and so on, they include content from the main manual. For example, if it's a Create, Deliver, and Support certification, it will include that publication. In this case, because it's Drive Stakeholder Value, we will be concerned with the Drive Stakeholder Value publication and also some of the practices. There will be some practices relevant to Drive Stakeholder Value. We'll look at what those are shortly. Each exam, in this case, the Drive Stakeholder Value exam, is based on the publication as well as the practices, the main publication and the relevant practices. And also, only some portion of the practices are included and some portion of the publication or the main manual are included. Therefore, the complete DSV manual and all the practice manuals are not included, but only relevant portions are included for the exam. And these are clearly specified in the syllabus published by Axelos for each of these exams. Testing in these exams is based on Bloom's level 2 and 3. The foundation exam is based on Bloom's level 1 and 2. Bloom's level 1 is about recalling from memory. Whereas here in the higher level exams, it begins with Bloom level 2, which is about understanding of the concepts. It means, can those concepts be applied in simple scenarios? And also many questions at Bloom's level 3, where you have to demonstrate application of these concepts more than the level 2. In level 2 also there is some application plus understanding, but in level 3 there is more breaking down into parts. There are no questions at the higher levels like Bloom level 4 because that require practical scenarios or case studies. So in the exam you will definitely have small caselets, situations which will test your knowledge of the Drive Stakeholder Value concept. All these exams are, apart from the foundation, the higher levels, they are for 1.5 hours, 40 multiple choice questions, 28 to be correct in order to pass, invigilated, closed book exams without case studies. However, each question may present a small situation. Those who are non-English speakers as their native language will get some extra time, half an hour or so for these exams. Let's now understand what this specialist Drive Stakeholder Value is about. This specialist module is for IT professionals who are responsible for managing and interfacing with stakeholders and fostering relationships to gain value realization. So some of the key words here are stakeholders, relationships, value realization. So you see the words here as well, drive stakeholder value. It is beneficial to those who design or manage customer journeys and experiences and manage customer demands and expectations. There's a lot of coverage on the journey of the customer from start to finish, with the relationship building, the exploration of the relationship, the engagement, the offerings made, then the agreement, and so on. This module will provide you with the skills and knowledge to effectively manage stakeholders and target them with the right service offerings and value propositions. So it's about the service offerings and value propositions. Ensuring that value co-creation is the goal for all value streams. Value co-creation is essential. Establish consumers and producers as multi-dependent, ensuring that value is always mutually agreed and requirements are prioritized. Keep customers front of mind and adopt a service mindset. Customers are the most important. They should be always kept at the front of our mind. Integrate human-centered design, customer experience, user experience design, and customer journey mapping to deliver services that delight. Build trusted relationships with stakeholders and develop effective and timely communications. So in summary, it's about the service offerings, value propositions, value creation, mutual agreement of value, prioritizing requirements, customers in focus, service mindset, design thinking, human-centered, customer experience-based, user experience-based, customer journey mapping, and trust in the relationships and communications. Learning objectives. By the end of this course, you will be able to understand how customer journeys are designed, know how to target markets and stakeholders, know to foster stakeholder relationships, know how to shape demand and define service offerings, know to align expectations and agree details of services, know how to onboard and offboard customer and users, know how to act together to ensure continual value co-creation, which means service consumption or provisioning, and finally, know how to realize and validate service value. Let us take a quick look at the syllabus of this exam before we move on to the concepts in this course. There are 8 sections in this course: customer journey, target market and stakeholders, fostering stakeholder relationships, shape demand and define service offerings, align expectation and agree service details, onboard and offboard, continual value co-creation, realize and validate service value. Each one of these sections have some marks allocated. So if you look at this, all these marks total to 40. So a quick look tells us that number 4, shape demand and define service offerings, has 7 marks. Similarly, number 6, onboard and offboard, has 7 marks, which carry the maximum marks among the 8 sections. And some of them have slightly lower and even lower marks allocated. However, at the same time, there are 9 marks out of the 40 for 8 practices. So if you look at section number 3, there are 2 practices associated in section 3 with the stakeholder relationships. Similarly, 1 practice in shaping demand and defining the offerings, 1 practice when aligning expectation and agreeing to the service details, 2 practices for onboarding and offboarding, and 1 practice each for continual value creation and realizing and validation of service value. The 8 practices associated with drive stakeholder value are the following: portfolio management, service level management, service desk, supplier management, service request management, relationship management, business analysis, service catalog management. Now, some practices overlap with HVIT, high velocity IT. Some are covered in create, deliver, and support, so we can see them clearly. So for example, portfolio management is covered in HVIT also. Service level management is covered in create, deliver, and support as well. Service desk is covered in HVIT as well as CDS. Therefore, every MP exam, managing professional exam like DSV, CDS, HVIT, and so on, DPI, etc., may cover a different section from the same practice. So just because we see portfolio management covered in DSV and also in HVIT, it doesn't mean the same sections apply for both exams. Maybe some sections from portfolio management apply in the DSV exam and other sections from the same portfolio management apply in the HVIT exam. However, in summary, a total of 9 marks out of 40 reserved for these 8 practices. So practices do have good value for the exams. Another good way for your preparation is to understand how the marks are allocated based on the DSV publication from Axelos, the manual that is. This is a chapter-wise allocation of marks, which are rather evenly allocated, some of them having slightly less and some are more. Therefore, in this course, we are going to go through this complete customer journey of explore, engage, offer, agree, onboard, co-create, and realize. Let's now begin our journey in the drive stakeholder value. Section 1 is about customer journeys. Understand how customer journeys are designed. In particular, understand the concept of the customer journey and the ways of designing and improving customer journeys. Firstly, the concept of the customer journey. We will understand what it means, definition and introduction, touch point and service interactions, benefits of understanding customer journeys, the generic ITIL customer journey. The concept of the customer journey. How you deliver a service is as important as what you deliver. For example, the user wants to order something, order a product online. They may want to have some convenience while ordering it. Therefore, it's not just the product has to be delivered to their doorstep, but the convenience of ordering. That's what is meant by how you deliver a service is as important as what you deliver. Understanding every touch point and interaction is not enough. You must take the journey yourself and understand the end-to-end experience. It is important for the provider to also experience the customer. They need to put themselves in the shoes of the customer and understand every touch point and every interaction, but also the complete journey. We're going to go into more detail on what a touch point is and what is a service interaction and what is a service journey or a customer journey. When you understand the customer journey, you can maximize stakeholder value through co-creation and focus on experience, not just on outcomes. Even though outcomes, value, benefits, etc. are important in service management, however, it is a journey maximizing the value to the stakeholder by working together, co-creation, and focusing on the customer experience. So you're now beginning to realize the focus of drive stakeholder value, with customer being the most important stakeholder with the focus on value. Let's begin understanding the concepts. Touch points, service interactions, customer journeys. Touch point, any event where a service consumer or potential service consumer has an encounter with the service provider or its products and resources. An example could be, we see an ad about the provider in the media. Right now, there is no interaction. We are just looking at an advertisement in the media. That's a touch point. The customer may get a feeling by reading the ad or by viewing the images in the ad. That's a touch point. Or the customer may be receiving a message about status of a request. If I place in a user request to a service desk, I may want to know the status of my request, and I may receive a message from the service desk. That is also a touch point where there is no interaction directly with a human, but it's just a message that I receive. But in general, most touch points will also be interactions. Service interactions, a value co-creating reciprocal action between a service provider and a service consumer. An example could be chatting with a bot. A user is chatting with a bot or speaking to customer care about a certain request made earlier. So there is a definite interaction between the user and the chatbot or the customer care person. So it is also a touch point, but in addition, it is also a service interaction. Customer journeys, the complete end-to-end experience that service customer have with one or more service providers and or their products through touch points and service interactions. So the journey is a combination of the touch points and the interactions from start to finish. And with not just one service provider, but with all the service providers and suppliers they are involved with. An example of a journey could be the experience when a new service is released to the end of the service, or when an issue is reported by a user and until that issue is resolved. So from the starting till the end of an issue is a customer journey. And similarly, other examples. From the time a service is released until the time the service is closed. And a few more things here. Customer journey may follow a simple, a fixed or complex emerging path. It need not be very simple all the time. It may be complex. Sometimes the journey may emerge. For example, an incident leads to a change. So the journey emerges from incident to change. But the journey should be still understood and managed in advance. And as customers perceive the end-to-end experience, individual touch points must provide a good experience. And the interactions should also provide a good experience. Therefore, a good collection of experience from touch points and interaction will create a good customer journey. Which means a journey is a specific experience in a service consumer life cycle. As a user, if I'm researching a service, it may be my initial part of my journey. But later on, I may go into a longer journey or several journeys with one provider or several providers. And in reality, generally the end-to-end journey scores are low for the providers, even though their touchpoint scores may be high. And this could be because as part of the procedures and standard operating procedures and so on, the processes and practices, the teams may lose sight of the customer's needs and desires, particularly when there are multi-channel environments. And for example, interaction through a website or interaction through a chat box or through email or through phone line or direct face-to-face interaction. This may be happening, but each channel might be very good, but the overall picture is not good. The integration between the channels may not be good. So therefore, the customer may have to repeat the information again and again. Therefore, the overall journey will not be good, even though individual touch points were excellent. Therefore, not only the touch points and interactions should be understood and improved, but the entire customer journey and service experience should be mapped in some visualized manner, thereby visualizing the consumer experience. By mapping this journey, it allows organizations to understand their stakeholders. We look at mapping after a while again. In mapping, it is important to consider the stakeholders, who they are, the time frame of the journey, what are the various channels of interactions and touch points, and which actions are happening before the experience of the customer, during the experience of the customer, and after the experience of the customer. Let's move on. When identifying and understanding the customer journey, why does it matter that we need to identify and understand the journey? There are some benefits for the consumer as well as the provider. For the service consumer and the provider, for both of them, it facilitates outcome and experience. It optimizes risk and compliance. It optimizes resources and minimizes cost. For the consumer, they gain optimal service value and experience. The provider understands needs and desires, not just what customer states. If you look at how it optimizes risk and compliance for the service consumer, it ensures key consumer risks are identified and addressed. For example, a customer may or a consumer may want to return a product. So they may be thinking about, what if the product doesn't work well? Can I return it? There is a risk involved there. So it needs to ensure that key consumer risks are identified and addressed. Optimize resources and minimize cost for the service consumer, meaning work together to commit and optimize resources used during the product or service lifecycle. For example, if the systems are separate and not integrated, then the resources are not optimized. When the people are skilled but they are not used well, maybe it's better to have a multi-skilled group rather than separate skilled teams. So those things may optimize or the resources further. For the service provider, on the other hand, how does it facilitate outcome and experience? Identify and support specific consumer behaviors and outcomes. Optimize, improve products, services, and journeys. Consumer behavior, for example, certain consumers have a sense of urgency, or sometimes they want general advice, sometimes they want specific advice. So the service consumer need to understand that, identify such behaviors, and respond accordingly. From a risk perspective, the service provider can focus on customer satisfaction and areas with highest payouts for the cost. There may be risks, but they need to take a calculated risk where the payout is more, where there is more return on the money, and the customer satisfaction is high. And on the optimization of resources and costs, the provider work together to commit and optimize resources used during the product life cycle and to be fair and transparent with costs. So in summary, there are benefits for both the consumer and the provider by understanding the customer journey from three perspectives. Perspective one is about the outcome and experience. Second one is to optimize the risk and compliance. And third one is to optimize the resource and minimize cost. Moving on. Time to reflect on the learnings and make notes.